All right, guys. First thing we're going to do is, as always, put it in the table of contents. I had first periods instead of fifth periods. Great. Okay, we're not done with quadratics, but this ties in with quadratics. I am going to put kind of a line, though, because everything after this, we're going to be kind of putting them together. Intro. I'm going to be on page 44 just because I've done so much extra practice. All right. All right, it's really important that you glue it into your journal when we're done so it doesn't get lost. All right, can you put your name on the top? I'm period 5. That way if it gets lost in my journal, we can get it back. Okay, and I'm going to use some colors. Now, this should be mostly a review from pre-algebra and algebra 1. But if anything, if I've learned anything, it's that, we don't remember everything. Okay, so what does a square root do? Does anybody know? Yeah, what would be the square root of 25? 5. Can you guys see how long is the side of this square? That's why it's called a square root. It finds the length. So you're going to fill in that with length of one side of a square given the area of that square. So if we start with an area, it can work backwards to get us the side, the length of the side. Now this is where it's going to be helpful to have a couple of colors. The radical sign is just this part. It's just the funny little sign. That's the radical sign. Does anybody want to borrow my orange? I got an orange highlighter. Can I toss it to any of y'all? No, you're good? The radicand is the number inside, or the expression inside. And the index is this, the number right there. That is your index. You guys with me? Okay. So does anyone remember what you're not allowed to take a square root of? What kind of number can you not take the square root of? Pardon? Sign? Fine? I don't know what you're saying.
Prime.
Oh, prime. I see your point. We'll get a decimal if you do that. But you're not allowed to take one if it's a negative. Now, the reason this makes sense is, can you have a negative area? Not really. The other thing is, think about it. Right, if I have 3, that is prime, and I could have 1 times 3 to make it. But or let's go 9, 3 and 3, right? But what if I do negative 9? If I break that down into negative 3 and negative 3, what's a negative times a negative? A positive. So the only way to get a negative is if they're different signs, which means they're different numbers, which means that it's no longer a square root because they have to be the exact same number. So you can't do it if there's a negative on the inside. Negative on the outside, okay? Negative on the inside, not okay. So far, are we good? It doesn't matter what color you use, sweetie. As long as the index, that little n is green, the index and the little n has to be the same color. You could have done this pink, purple, green, don't care. All right, what I want you guys to do now is flip actually to the very back of your journal. You guys see your multiplication table? What are our perfect squares on here? Are you guys okay that 1's a perfect square? What about is 4 a perfect square? Yeah, it is, because it's 2 times 2. 3 times 3 would be a perfect square. You guys following me? Can you highlight the perfect squares on here? It would, actually. 0 counts as a perfect square. You guys got this? All right. Going back to our notes. Okay. So, we're going to have some steps to break this down. The first step is to factor the radicand. Remember, I'm gonna highlight radicand with the same, whatever color I used here on radicand, use that same color here. And that's gonna be the inside stuff, okay? Now we're gonna break this down. Samarian, can you break down 144? What's two numbers that multiply to 144?
12 times 12.
Yeah. Mario, how many times do I need to write that X out? 3 times. Okay, now this is something I probably should have made a note of, so I'll make a note for myself. If they don't write the number right here, so if it's blank, like this one is, that means square root, means 2. It's an implied 2 there. Is that me? I think okay. I just trying to make sure on grade day like this, my phone gets blown up by all the admin saying, "Have you done la 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 la?" And I'm like, no, I have not. I'm busy teaching. Okay, you guys with me so far? All right, because this is an implied 2 right there, we're going to circle groups of 2. So I have 2 12s and I have 2 X's. You with me? All right, so far you're with me? Everything that's in a circle, you get to kill everything in the circle except for 1. So the 112 is going to stay, 1 X is going to stay. The 8's going to be on the outside still. The 12 comes outside. This X comes outside. The square root is there. And then see how this X doesn't have any friends? He wasn't in a group. He's still stuck in the house. What is 8 times 12? You can use your journal if you need to. Back of it if you need to. 90 what? 90. Yes, sir. And this is your answer. The only thing I'm going to add is they always put a plus and minus in front. Because they could have done 2 negative 12s or 2 positive 12s. So both of those would work. So the plus and minus in front, I need to add that. I'm sorry, if I let go of it for like a second, it falls. Okay, when you're ready, go ahead and open it up to the inside. So it looks like we're ready. Okay. So the first thing, what's our first step on this, you guys? What are we trying to do? I don't need to know the answer, I just need to know what we're trying to do. Okay, but we don't magically jump to there. What do we need to do first? What do we need to break down? 192, okay? What's a number we could try to take out that would probably come out? Do you think we should try 10?
No.
Do you think we should try 5?
No.
What should we try? Why don't we try 2? Do you guys does it make sense to you that we could take a 2 out?
Yeah.
So on your calculator, you're going to do 192 divided by 2. See how that's 96? So I know it's 2 and I know it's 96. Now 96, we know some things that multiply to that, right? What are some things that multiply to 96?
12 and 8.
So far, so good? Are any of these numbers the same?
No.
So I need to start putting some of them together. Okay, so we need to be able to break some of this down. 8 would be easy, right? I could do 2 and 4. And 12, I could do 4 and 3. Is everybody with me so far? I'm going to circle my group of 4. And do you guys see that I have a group of 2s? What do we do next? Let me ask you it a different way. Is that 3? When we go to the next step, that 3 is going to stay. How many 2s am I going to write down? 1. How many 4s am I going to write down? Just 1. Where is that 3 going to be? Inside or outside? What about the P? Because it doesn't, there's only one P. It would need to have 2. All right, what's 3 times 2? What's 6 times 4? 24. Don't forget, plus or minus. Okay, let's try this one. Now notice what's different. There's 2 things that are different on this one. What's different that we haven't seen before? We haven't seen it with a negative. What else have we not seen? That with exponents here. What about that? Do you see that's a 3? Let's break this down together. The negative 6, we already know the negative 6 is just going to stay outside, okay? And we actually don't even care that it's negative because we're going to have plus, minus, remember? And we know it's going to multiply by something, but we don't know what yet. So we're going to do this. What are 2 things that multiply to 54? 6 and 9. Are those the same? But we already know 9. I can break that down as a perfect square, right? 3 and 3. So one of the, oh, I can't do that actually. I'm sorry, I can't cross that out yet. Because, do you see how it's a group of 3? It's a cubic root. I need a group of 3, and then I kill 2, and 1 comes out. You guys with me? We need a group of 3 because the index is 3. If the index was 5, I would need a group of 5. So far, so good? Where's that 2 going to go? Outside or inside? Inside. So I know I'm going to have the cubic root, and I know 2's inside. How many u's do I need to write out? 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Group of 3. Group of 3. Only 1 from each group makes out. So how many are going to make it out? How many are stuck on the inside? And I don't even have 3 V's, so there's no point in doing anything with them. They're just stuck on the inside. Is this easy? Tricky? Just need a little bit more time? What's 6 times 3, you guys? Yeah, 18. U squared. Now, it's very important that you write this correctly. When you write a power, see how I wrote a little, you can't maybe see that so well. Can you guys see that little cross that I just made? Like a little box? See how the 2 is above the U, but next to it? Then notice that there would be like an invisible line here, and then the square root, cubic root. Okay? It's important that you don't do, I'm going to do like 8 of them wrong real quick. This would be wrong. See how the 2's on top of the U and not as a power? No. This would also be wrong. This is almost right, but do you see how that looks like 23? And I can't tell if it's the 23rd root. U to the 2 square. Yeah, I can't see. Do you see how I can't tell how these are connected to each other? This is also something I see. See how they made that really big and the little root part isn't there? It looks almost like a division sign, okay? I also see this sometimes. I also see this sometimes. No. Yes. All right. Let's break this one down. Now, we've already done 192 up here, remember? We did it with a square root, but this is a cubed root. But we already know that this is going to be 296. We already know it's going to be 8 and 12. We already know that we could have 2 and 4. We already know we could have 4 and 3. Right? We already know all that. You guys with me? Let's go down a little bit more. You okay that that's 2 and 2? That's 2 and 2? A lot of 2's going on? Okay. Group of 3. Group of 3. Tell me what to write down on the outside. Jude, give me one number that's going to be on the outside. Plus or minus 6. Tony, give me another number that's going to be on the outside. 2. Samarian, give me another thing on the outside. Another 2. Mario, tell me where that 3 is going to go, in or out? Inside, because it doesn't have any group, right? So I'm going to make sure, I'm leaving a space here for the x's and the y's. We don't know how many is going to come out yet. Cubic root. I know that the 3 is going to be on the inside, okay? Give me thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs sideways for how we're feeling about doing the number part. Okay, Jude? I can't see your thumb. Okay. Okay. All right. Guys, do I need to break down the x squared? How many do I need in a group? 3. How many do I have? So can it come out? What about the x to the 6? How many groups of 3 would I have? So can I just do that? You guys okay with that? Just in case somebody's not okay, I'm going to write it out real quick. I have y to the 6th, 2 groups of 3. So I'm going to have y squared. Now we need to multiply this out real quick and get the number out front. What's 2 times 2? Times 6? How are we feeling about this? This should be a review from Algebra 1. And we're about to jump into the Algebra 2 on the next page. Was I right that we were going to need a... Did you guys remember this, though? Did you need a refresh?
I never remember.
You never learned this? Okay. So we definitely needed a refresh. / learn it. Okay, you guys? What kind of root is this? How many do I need in a group? For this one, how many? If it doesn't tell me, how many do I need in a group? 2. Okay. We already know it's going to be plus or minus 4. I'm going to go 32 and 10. Are you guys okay with that? Now, I'm purposely picking 16 here because you remember how I had you highlight those roots along the way? Those perfect squares? 16 is a perfect square. So I already know that this is going to be a 4 like that. You guys following me? 2 4s, 2 2s. Kill one off. Only one makes it out. 4, 2, 5 stuck on the inside. How many X's can come out? Are there any X's left? No. What about the Y? It can't come out because it doesn't have a friend. Now you guys, I always start with the smaller numbers to multiply because it's easier. What's 2 times 4? What's 8 times 4? So far, so good? Let's break it down now. We already know that it's going to be plus or minus 8. 192. We've done this one like 8 times. I'm going to break it down slightly differently. I'm going to break it down as 16 and 12. I forgot to explain. I just did it. I'm sorry. Let me back that up. Okay. Are you guys okay that we have plus or minus 8? Are you guys okay that I would take a 4 out because I got a group of 2? Now, what about this guy? See how it's going to be 3 and 4? They didn't really help us, so I go back up and it's a 12. Does that make sense? Okay, now this is u to the 4th. How many groups of 2 could I take out? Think of it as what is 4 divided by 2? 2. So u squared. What is 3 divided by 2? 1 and remainder 1, right? Okay, so that means there's going to be a v on the outside and a v on the inside. This is how many on the outside. The remainder is how many is left on the inside. Now, if it helps, you can do 1, 2, 3 V's, group of 2, 1 comes out, 1 stays in. Sorry, I didn't mean to do that without thinking. What's 8 times 4? 32. Now, the rule when you have this many letters is that the letters always go alphabetically. Okay, so A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V. See how U comes before V? That's why. I got an answer.
So, could you do 2 and 6, or you can't?
You could. Okay. Well, see, 2 and 6. You're right. You're right, because then you could do 2 and 3, right? And then you're doing this? Yeah, I see it. I see it. So I could still take... I could also think of it as 4 and 3, and that's a perfect square, so I could take another 2 out. So that makes it 64. You're totally right. That's the correct answer. That was a step short.
Oh,
You're good. You're good. I'm just tired. I'm on way too much grading, way too little sleep. When you're ready, flip the paper. I'm sorry, you're still writing? You're good. Okay, so what we've just done up there, that is Algebra 1. It's a higher level Algebra 1 than most of you guys will have seen, but it's still considered an Algebra 1 concept to be able to simplify and reduce radicals. We're about to do Algebra 2. You ready? You have to be able to solve this using Algebra 2, which is are you okay that a square root and a square, so these two things, these are inverses. Are you okay that they undo each other? Please make sure you have this vocabulary down because I will be looking for it and it will definitely be a test question. Inverses, yes. Okay, so if I want to get rid of this square, I'm writing this down a little bit lower and I want to make sure I have some space on this side. So at least as thick as my finger. Okay, I'm just going to write some steps here. Get your x squared term alone. Step 2 is square root both sides. Okay, so when I take the square root of a and the square root of 18, you with me? Are you okay that these just cross each other out? Because what's the square root of a? Well, we could have done a times a, kill 1, but you just get a, right? So far, so good? And then all we're going to do is reduce this if we can. What are some things that multiply to 18? 9 and 2. Hey, look, 9's a perfect square. 3 and 3. You with me? So I get a equals plus or minus 3 square root 2. That's your answer. See how we took the 3 out? Is this too many things at the same time? Your brain's having a hard time processing? This one should be easy. No, Alan, we're teaching a lesson. Go to class, sweetie. Guys, what do we do now? Oh, you're still right. I'm going to pause. I'm sorry. My bad. All right, guys, just to help you understand or visualize this, I'm going to write on a scratch paper as soon as I find one. Okay? Are you guys okay? If this was 3 by 3, how many squares? Okay, so the area is 9. You guys following me? What if it was 4 by 4? I need one more. So far, so good? Okay. Then what if it was 5 by 5? Okay, so you're okay with that concept? I just want to put this in the calculator so you can see that this is going to get you, I want you to see what the decimal would look like. So if I do the square root of 18, do you see how it's just a little bit bigger than 4? Do you see how 3 square root 2 gives you the same thing? I don't know if you can see it at that angle. Are you guys seeing it? Okay. So this is giving you a little bit bigger than 4, which makes sense, right? Because it's just a little bit bigger than 16 on the inside. See how 18 is just a little bigger than 16? Okay. Now on this one, what's the answer? Just 5. And for me, on a perfect square one, you don't have to show work. You can just say n equals plus or minus 5. All right. On this one, how do I get that a squared term alone? Plus 3 to both sides. What's the square root of 100? So you can just say a equals plus or minus 10. What's our first step, y'all? What's 28 plus 8? So how big is one side? I'm going to give you a minute to try those. All right. You guys ready? All right. Samarian, what's my first step? What's that make on this side? Okay, so I have 36b squared equals 100. Mario, what's my next step? How do I get the b squared by itself? Add, subtract, multiply, or divide? Divide by what? Nope, what's with it? So we're going to divide both sides by 36. Now that's ugly, so I'm going to actually do the next step with you. Are you guys okay with that? Because fractions typically freak my students out. You're just going to square root both sides. And when you square root a fraction, you square root top and bottom separately. So what's the square root of 100? What's the square root of 36? Can you reduce that? What number could go into both of those? 2. All right, so I'm thinking of this as 2 times 5, 2 times 3. So my answer is just going to be Samarian, when you're ready, actually I think we're back to Jude. Jude, when you're ready, give me the first step. Tony, you're going to be step 2. Samarian, what's 79? Oh, sorry, Tony, what's 79 plus 2? Samarian, when you're ready.
You have to add, you have to divide 49 by 81.
Yeah. Mario, when you're ready. How do we get rid of a square root? A square. What do we use? How do we cross this out? What's this thing called? It's called a square root. Okay, so can you tell me, take the square root of both sides? I need you to say it.
Square root both sides.
Mm-hmm. Take the square root of both sides. Jude, I don't know how to square root a fraction. Tell me what to do.
Square both sides, maybe 9/7.
Okay, so we split it up. We do each one individually. Perfect. Tony, can that reduce? How do you know?
It's a prime number.
Yeah, 7 is a prime number. You're done. Okay, I'm going to give you a few minutes to go ahead and glue that in your journal. Give me 1 minute to, I'm going to stop the video.